Hello everybody, how's it going? My name is InkEyes. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to Pyre. I don't know why something is having such a difficult time connecting to my computer. Is that the controller is giving me a hard time? What is this noise? Anyway, terrible intro. How's it going? Final episode, maybe. Who knows? It is a final liberation rite, at least. We're gonna continue from here.
Foolish reader, your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
I don't think I ever had a chance to get my freedom. By dawn, you were already up and about. After troubled slumber, the Black Wagon, or after troubled slumber, the Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the fall of Solium. No one speaks. Maybe I should not speak either. Let's go full silent mode. As you lift into the skies, a lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain olden ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may be befit the situation or circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I were to play the song for the night winds? By all means. Song from the low minstrel may help lift the spirits of your companions at this vital time. What if I said not now? You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs, the exiles shall be all are not the same, but three shall be as one. Freedom in flame, the end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make upgrade. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be
So, let us get to the fall then, please. I hear a sound here, but nope. Okay. Bertrude can gain a favor. Pamitha can gain a favor. I'm gonna go with Pamitha gaining a favor. I'm gonna need Pamitha's expertise. You touch down amid the narrow passageways of Mount Aladiel to make pilgrimage to the summit for one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are a part shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. Oh man. You okay? It's the final liberation, right, girl? You got nothing to say? It's crazy. Last remaining star shall soon be gone. We have this one last chance to get one of us out. May the scribes be merciful to all of us. After having landed, you join Pamitha on an expedition to the monument of molten millet for what is likely to be the final time. Well, Pamatha, here you are again. Enjoy it while you can, I guess, because it sounds like this is your last chance and everyone's. What would you even do if your darling there decided to pick you up? Have you even decided yet? Or need more time there, You'll always be an outcast, Pamatha. There's nothing waiting for you where you're from, and your sister hates you. Yet you want to go back anyway. Maybe because they thought they'd seen the last of you. Just imagine the looks on their faces. Soon she is finished, you return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though molten millet has shown you favor. At dawn you shall begin your last descent. For now, your vocations may occupy what little time you have to spare. Oh, +3 glory is really glorious. Man. Mentor, I guess. Mentor the Bog Crone. Let us then discuss these matters which you believe should be of benefit. You ask Bertrude to explain to you in her own words the histories of the 8 scribes and speak to how their varied backgrounds form the basis not just of the rights, but of the Commonwealth. Well done. Long have we sought to fathom all the darkest secrets hidden by the light of the stars. Now at last the stars themselves revoke their station in the night, and we have finally achieved an inkling of this. Have you? Huh? I want this. Thank you. Perhaps not all of the wisdom of the scribes lies buried in that tome of thine. You don't know. I am the tome reader. Put your stay back. Really? Nothing? Yeah. Talk to me. This is our last point. Let's go. Oh yes! Here in the old masonry of Mount Aladiel, you encounter a messenger imp come to deliver news and rumors from the other side. The news this time pertains to Hedwyn, whom you liberated at the fall of Solium. You learn Hedwyn returned safely to the Commonwealth, where he was clothed and welcomed, his past transgressions all forgiven. Did he meet with Jadariel? Oh, that I am not sure. He was to be groomed for the leadership position of his choice, whether on the council or on the blood border, each equally as lucrative and secretive as well. But he refused, however, and before the stunned council members could do anything about it, he sliced their throat. He since made contact with Wolf's agents and is working together with them. Thus, the ranks of the revolution grow stronger yet. Per the messenger imp custom, the last part of the message was transcribed from Hedwyn, word for word, and says, "Keep going. I'll see you here." Thank the messenger imp for relaying this information. Soon your companions are all abuzz about it. I always thought Hedwyn was looking for someone out there back home. Do you think he found her? Tito's happy to hear Hedwyn is well back in the Commonwealth. I thought maybe Hedwyn, Rookie, and Jadariel being back together would prompt like some sort of special thing to be like, oh, the OG Nightwing people were totally partying it up. Woo! Woohoo! Wonder if he'll ever find the one he fell for. Well done, Hedwyn, my boy. I knew you could do it. May that boy's spirit infect a lot of years with a plague. The news of Hedwyn's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with newfound resolve. Everybody gains one hope. Amazing. Where's my coffee? Haha, I tricked you. I lied as tea. Stand before the scribe gate with your companions. The gate guardian is there as ever. But you sense something different in her. She is now a man. The exiles of the Nightwings. We shall not meet again after the coming right. Terry and I shall be It shall be time we take our rest, I think.
Salutiam, Ceres.
Greetings, Celeste. I will tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I am uncertain anyone among us feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tariq.
Taruntadage.
And then what, Celeste? And then nothing. Not for the rights or us. Not till the dawn of a new age. Of Aquarius. Now, Nightwings, step forward. Please state your names and what it is that you seek whilst crossing Scribe's Gate. One by one. Your fellow exiles approach her, now with sureness in their step. I'll go. Pamitha Thane. I came seeking my blood sister Tamitha's forgiveness, since she ended up in here because of me. Maybe something good can come of it, as yet. My name is Wolfer Sandalwood. I long as yet to see an age where freedom is one's birthright. Bright right! Yes, bright indeed, for you. And no longer are good people such as these forced to contend for it. Tizo believes that his ancestors are watching over the Nightwings and seeks to live up to their legacy. Oh, my name is Jay, and I'm here because the scribes, this is the path they have shown me and all of us. I like it when they call to me. We are called Big Bertrude. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, for we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business. Finally, you step forth once more. You, an old farmer who vowed to help his friends be free again, and who managed to come this far with this group. The Gate Guardian observes you for a moment and motions past the archway toward the summit. He ascribes with the Nightwing's welcome. Go forth with glory. Except for you, Terry. You stay right here. I thought he said. The rites are not yet ended, Terry. He looks towards and over to the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. The Gate Guardian and the Lone Minstrel remain together as the rest of you depart. You have gained the summit of Mount Eladiel for the 7th time, the final time in which any of you shall have a chance to leave the downside. And the final time that we shall speak to Falcon Rod. Beyond the crystals! Thank you for visiting on such short notice, reader. I understand you have important matters to attend to. So let me be blunt, please. Listen for a moment then. I know this whole affair is coming to an end, all of it. Since the binds that form the rites becoming weak. Which means soon you will not need me anymore. Not that you have needed me at any point, but still. My services will not be of any further use. I would love to tell you that this means I shall be free from my eternal prison. For some of my beyonders it shall be a release. My accomplices are bound by weaker words, and those which have bound me, they shall fade away, I think, and finally rest. I, however, shall remain. She hesitates for a moment. Thus, I have a proposition for you. I do not know where you shall go from here, but I ask you to take me there, wherever it shall be. By that I mean, take this stone prison of mine and keep it. Do not just leave it, as all your predecessors have, each time their stay among the Nightwings reach an end. Soon the Bionic Crystal shall serve no use at all, except to keep me trapped. I am content to remain thus, for I have little choice, but I would prefer to do so in your company. For I do enjoy your company, reader. This may not be much of a compliment, but I assure you that I much prefer your company to an eternity of solitude. I have no wish to see you gain in years, and to eventually decay, while I remain unchanging. But I should rather have more years whilst having contact. Even if those years are to be brief, they shall afford me many more in which I might think back upon our times. Nor do I expect you to accommodate my needs, for I am well aware I have my limits in accommodating yours. That is to say, I wish you to go forth after this night and live your life however you see fit, for your own sake. May all this right business enrich your coming days somehow. And we'll have babies. In considering the life after this night, if you think that there may be a place in it for me, however small, then once again, I simply ask that you take me along. That way, should you ever wish to visit me, again sometime. You could, and I would like to have that as an option, more than not. My request here is a selfish one, for there is a little I can offer in exchange, other than what little my companionship is worth. Perhaps I could lull you to sleep, every once in a while. Who knows, you could always try to sell the Bionic Crystal for a reasonable sum somewhere, or something to that end. There must be someone out there with an interest in this thing. So then, you have heard my sad little proposition. What do you say? Absolutely. You grasp the Bionic Crystal and set it into the folds of your clothing. Sandra senses this and makes a sound as though it's surprised. Thank you, reader. She's at a loss for a moment then. Let us go then from this place. Go and face your last remaining adversaries when you crush them under your heel and achieve the outcome which you seek. I believe you shall prevail. She disappears into the stone for now. Oh no. Did anybody have like a remaining personal right? I don't think so. We've done everybody's. That was sweet. Mabe.
Hey, guys.
Hey guys. I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know, with all the stars all fading out and stuff. Anyway, just wanted to say you guys are great, and I'm sure I'm gonna miss having you guys as customers and all that. But I got some good news though too. All my stuff is all on sale now, and I will throw a little extra there just for you, okay? So enjoy, and maybe I'll be seeing you guys around, okay? Henceforth, all Falcon Run's goods are 5% off. That doesn't even cover tax. Oh. A heaping mountain of stardust. Plus 20 levels to a talisman. That is madness. I know. Dude, you're hilarious. I'm happy with what I have. Goodbye. What? Must be our lucky day here. Or I don't know what, Dad. You've gained the summit of Mount Aladiel for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light you away as you await the commencement of the final liberation rites. The Lawminister finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there perhaps some bit of wisdom that has eluded you thus far. Reader, we may not have a chance of speaking again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say that I am grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well this night and always go forth with glory. Then he looks up and extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. You sense Wolford has joined you, or you see it. Actually, you don't need to sense it. This man is like a walking tree. All your companions are with him. Think. But in fact, it is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader. But it has truly been a pleasure. Onward. Now, let us achieve our plan.
Reader 1, thou art both wiser and less irritating than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful.
Tizo wants you to know he has the utmost faith in you. Thank you, Tizo. I appreciated you didn't try to upsell yourself to me. Oh, hi, mister. The others, they said they wanted me to join them and come talk to you, so here I am. Scribes are watching us. Wow. Well, leader darling, what do you say we give those old scribes a real show to remember then, shall we? Let's go, your companions with whom you have withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other on others soon. He departs after this night. The outcome of Wolf's plan, the plan of which you all have been a part, shall be decided one way or another. We're gonna plan it. We're gonna plan it. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversary, so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. The final liberation rite of this age shall now commence. The people of the Commonwealth need us. Indeed. Oh man. I wonder what he has to say about it. Brighton. Ah, the reader. You think you're smart.
Look for one last time upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me for one last time.
What up?
For soon the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days in that forsaken land where you deserve to be. The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated, all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves, each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
The pious baron and each of the triumvirs is present and prepared. Karen, Ted, do you concur, man? Where are you? Oh, he did not concur! Not another word. The demon Orlick slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask. The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I waited for this. My freedom once was stolen from me. Then I was cheated of it here upon this mountaintop. You may now attempt to take it from me once more. He stands there for a moment silent, then Orlick dons his mask and stands prepared. May these damned rites cease forever for the misery which they caused. Alright, well, sounds good. Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended, and you will be dead until the next age begins. Thus I would have your decision on whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite. The one whom you anoint, or else the exile Orlick, shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. You know what it is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the stars remaining light grows. Or the stars remaining light grows dim. Your decision, please. Easiest decision of all of my life. It is time now to choose who, if anyone among you, shall go free this one last time. The rest of you shall remain in downside to the end of your days. If anyone? Can I choose no one then? Or is that what you're trying to say? One by one, you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Pamitha, Tiza, Wolfred, Bertrude, Jay, your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together, you have come this far, but now the downside and the rights conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Are you prepared to choose this one last time? The fate of your friends and Commonwealth may hinge on the decision you are about to make. It seems both cruel and unfair to have to make such a decision. Is there no other way? If this choice answers that question, great. Otherwise, I know who I want to pick. Having to make this last decision is unconscionable or unconscionable. It is too much. You hesitate. But then you sense a reassuring voice enter your thoughts. Is it Brighton? Do not give in, reader. Do not give in. We stand with you. The choice you are about to make, however you shall go about, and whatever the outcome, we understand. And so, you need not to hesitate, and you need not to explain, so please trust in yourself. For all the rest of us, we trust in you. Choose me, my boy. Me. You reconsider what you're about to do. You cannot back down. Oh, I can't select that option anymore. I thought like they're each going to take a turn and say that. All right, well, let's go. With but a glance, you reassure your fellow exiles that you know what to do.
One final opportunity for salvation.
Orlik's bio was updated.
Too bad for the rest of you.
Too bad for your face, son. He was repulsed by what he saw on the border or blood border, which sowed in his heart a yearning for a greater peace. He tried to use his influence to negotiate a treaty with the high-wing remnants, but not everyone was swayed. One day, he received direct orders to return to the front. When he refused to soil his hands again, they cast him down. There, in time, he became affiliated with the Nightwings and grew to become one of their finest rice conductors until tragedy struck, and he was left clinging to life at foot of the sacred mountain. Alright. Oh man, plus 40 right off the bat. That's fantastic. Fantastic. That sucks. That's all okay. Time to show you my champion.
Tizo.
That's right. Tizo is deeply moved by your decision, but regrets that you are forced to choose just one. Your choice is cast. As for your other companions, you sense a clarity of thought and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Tizo, as well as you.
Who shall be at his side?
You know? It's heartbreaking. I wanted to be Tizo's oldest friends, but Pamitha has the favor. But the truth is that we don't even need the favor, because we're that good. Get good! Give us solo ability. What about you? Alright.
Batrude.
Thy will is ours, reading one. Let the remaining stars shed their light, or last light upon our ceremony here.
Wolfred.
Wolfred.
Assuredly, my boy. Besides, we stand against Orlik. It is fitting that I should have to confront him myself.
Very well.
Those are to be my adversaries, then. And who is it, I wonder, who asserts his will over that group?
Me! Me! You sense Orlik searching for you, almost reaching out to you. Don't touch me.
You, the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me but you who would relinquish your own liberty for sake of them? Strange. It is fitting then that I should have to face one such as you.
That's right. The Orlik stands at the ready, signaling for his two allies who do the same.
By light of dawn, the cycle of their rites shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time.
Sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Let's go! Tariq! I am prepared. Let's do it. Then our last song. This evening, let them shake the stars themselves. Hi, Celeste. Let's make sure of it.
Tizo.
Tizo recognizes Orlik and greets him. Tentatively. It is good to see you. Or like reaches for his mask in turn. How is the horn amended? We've had this interaction before. He says no. He's like, hell no.
Begin. The final chance at liberation for the age.
Oh! Oh, jeez. They are not messing about. $140.
You were the Ravens once again.
I could not simply stand by and do nothing, Oralek.
Yet that is what you did. When we last stood together on this blasted mountain, I fell. You simply stood.
Oralek, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal?
Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail here and now.
Would you promise to uphold our plan? To bring about a better Commonwealth?
No. I make no promises. I owe you nothing.
Then I'm sorry, Oralek. My love of country comes before all else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake.
Your love be damned, Wilfred. Let us stand as adversaries then.
Come bring it, bud. Woo! Woohoo! Okay. Get out of here. Oh, he's so slow. Slither away! Oh, get in there. Under 100. Good, 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 good.
The sky rains ash. Soon shall your pyres all mingle with them.
Just then, the skies above begin to rain down fire. The final throes of the cycle of the rites. And the ending of the age. Oh, jeez. Ah!
Pathetic. How he has changed, that Oralek. Grown old and bitter, lo, these many years.
Dude. They murdered me. They have been murdering me!
Be gone, you lot.
This is not sensible. Why would I get struck down by the stars?
Worthy.
I feel like that's Brighton's doing of some sort. Did you see that meteor grab? Yeah, that's right.
Bertrude plunged into the adversary's fire.
Good stuff, Birdie. Good stuff.
So the false Nightwings bare their fangs at last. But that cannot be your finest effort. Do you think you deserve your freedom more than I? Then fight for it, damn you.
Glory to the scribes.
He got sniped by the stars, dude. Snipes, star snipe.
Oralek was struck.
Oh wow, how did he even dodge that? Go.
True Nightwings banished to the last. There.
Dude, the techniques they use, they are so beyond me.
'Twas a crushing blow.
Crashing blow. Tizo. Orlik stands, breathing heavily. He looks bad on the thin lick of flame that is his smoldering pyre. He looks back. Did I say bad? Before turning his attention back to your triumvirate. Put this down. Don't let him do that to you. Nice. Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Tizo! Tizo. Go. Oh, shit.
All of you. You shall rot here. You shall rot as I have all these many years, you false Nightwings, who would deny me once again my rightful liberty. You who deny the liberty to all of the triumvirates you face and vanquish under the guise of the traditions of those blasted scribes. Come, let us continue with this glorious affair. Okay.
Oh, you have no chance, bud. Go, 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 go. Walk it in, walk it in. Tizo's done it.
The Nightwings proved their worth.
Damn, he's
An outcome which left little room for doubt.
That's right.
Thus ends the liberation rite.
Good.
And thus, the scribes have chosen
Tizo. Where is Tizo? Tizo is lavishing a great deal of generous praise on you after having prevailed. You look upon Tizo for what you expect shall be the last time you see each other. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf him. Look at him wearing his white raiment! Any moment now, he shall return to glory and join with Wolford's agents in the Commonwealth to help achieve the plan. Any moment now, the cycle of the rites shall end, until at least dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen. And thus, the scribes have chosen. No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
The scribes have forsaken us? Tizo, I don't want this to happen on your liberation rite, buddy. Seems very concerned. All of a sudden, something is wrong. Each prior time upon the fall of Solium, the Shimmer Pool has opened following the liberation rite and taken in whichever exile prevailed. But now, all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. You sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Orlik approaches, his head bowed.
The 8 scribes saved their greatest treasury for last.
Then something else catches his notice.
Wait.
A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again, different somehow, but open. It's a bloody one. Tizo looks upon it, but does not engulf him, or at least not yet.
It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes, this is not their greatest treachery. This is their greatest jest. The Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. It seems that all are worthy now of freedom.
Orlik strides toward the Shimmer Pool, but... Halt, Orlik. Orlik glances over the lone minstrel almost in surprise. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and you shall surely drown. Of that I can assure you. He laughs to himself at this.
Then we have all been cheated.
No, the Shimmer Pool is revealed, and one of you may still return as planned. But, as for who returns, someone shall have to choose. At last light of the stars is extinguished and their rites cease to be. This is the final trial of the scribes. The final trial of the scribes. Then our confrontation, deliberation, right? It was all meaningless. No. The victor of the confrontation is to be the one to make the choice among those closest to the scribes. Either he anointed, or the anointed, or he who anointed them. Tizo thinks that this means either he can go to the Commonwealth or you can.
Pyre.
Aye. It shall be either you, the reader, or... It shall be either or.
Tager usare.
Tizo, please make your decision quickly, lest it shall be forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the light of the stars shall offer you this gift. Seems then that Tizo has made up his mind. Oh my god, it's up to Tizo? Tizo chooses you. He wants you to be free. You are free to go. I refuse, Tizo. No. I'm funny. No. Tizo wishes to give up his freedom so that you may regain yours.
Si madaret.
Very well.
Irate ligerato.
Leader, sir. The choice which Tizo made, or rather the choice which he gave, it is now yours to make instead. This choice, it may keep bouncing back and forth like this. Absurd!
Tempra dantas.
It may, until such time as one of you is willing to accept the burden and the outcome of the choice. That is the ritual, or the trial, and I fear that there is a little time remaining now. Reader, if you and your companions are too cordial with each other to accept that freedom, either one of you, then I shall gladly take it. Freedom ought to be more than some flirtatious trifle to extreme.
Ligeratus.
Reader, what is your will? I want it to be Tizo. It's gotta be Tizo. It shall be done.
Lampare cognare.
Tizo, sir, do you accept Reader's choice, or shall you make another? Tizo makes very clear that he accepts, with your blessings, of course.
Pensare.
Then it is done. You see a look of genuine surprise flash across Tizo's face, and then he's gone. Just like that. You gave a chance at freedom so that Tizo may yet have his. May he return in the utmost glory.
Godspeed, Tizo. By the scribes. No stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
That night, the exiled Tizo returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded, and the cycle of the rites had run its course. These are the lyrics. So the stars had faded, and the cycle of his head. Did you hear that? This is gonna be like lyrics too. Found the Commonwealth in a state of unrest, spurred by the efforts of 4 liberated exiles. Wilfred Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky portended the return of the scribes. The rulers of the Commonwealth pushed back. Fighting broke out in the streets in spite of Sandalwood's intentions. It was then that the high-wing remnants chose to strike. Oh snap! Allegations that the high-wing remnants were in league with Sandalwood were never proven. However, there was no denying that the result of the two-pronged attack. After enduring for almost a millennium, the Commonwealth had fallen. The new Saurian Union declared its sovereignty. Sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes its elected leaders ushered in, they vowed never to cast their people into exile. Oh, sweet. I like that. And they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today, we still remember all of this. And we remember the exiles of the downside, whose deeds led to the dawning of our age, whether they returned or not. Whoa! What? Oh my god, what is this? Jody! You are the liberated ones. Tizo, how's everything going, yo? Choose someone. Wait, that did not pop up in time. The imp called Tizo was the first of his kind to achieve liberty through the rites. While he was not the only imp trained in the ways of the scribes, imps are native to the downside and thus care not for traveling abroad. This made them useful to triumvirates. Yet Tizo had a different calling, and the Nightwings believed that he too could play a key part in Wolfus Sandoval's plan. During the night of Scribe's return, he stood out to the populace as something of a miracle. They had only heard of downside imps before from legends of Haug the Swallow. Afterwards he became something of an icon, representing both the fall of the Commonwealth and the beginning of a new era. Wolfus Sandalwood would sometimes send him little gifts, all the way from the downside. Despite the insurmountable distance between them, their friendship proved more than resilient. Tizo often missed his interactions with the reader of the Nightwings. I am the one. The only one. And they had quickly built quite a rapport back in the downside. And Tizo would often express wistful gratitude for all his time conducting rites alongside the Nightwings, who made such sacrifices for him. Other than that, Tizo was diligent about his role as something of a living artifact and helped interpret for the messenger imps that relayed news to and from the downside. Despite having gained significant celebrity, he never let it go to his head. Although, he did take full advantage of his access to the Saurian Union's fishing industry. I like that. Oh, he popped. Oh, we can go through all of them. This is fantastic. What a great way to end. Oh man, I gotta play this game one more time. I feel like. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital to the outcome of the plan. He was the one who led the raid on the stronghold where Archjustice Androbeles IX was holed up when the fighting grew fierce. Who is the voice? Brighton. With him, then and thereafter, was one of the winged harps of the High Wing remnants later identified as Fikani Shang! Yo! Are you guys married? Children yet? Please, please, please. Show me your picture of your kids, please. Their bond was vital to the peace that followed. In all his days as a leader in the Saurian Union, Hedwyn oft confided in his friend, Jodariel! Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Yeah, you said plug of freedom. Although he cherished all of the friendship he made, he had pledged to Jodariel, Rookie Greentail, and the reader of the Nightwings that they might all be free again together. I wonder if I had gone free with these two liberated, something different would have happened. I'm sure of that, but he had broken the vow, for in the end, not all of them were able to return. A terrible guilt over this darkened his mood for a time. However, the others whom he still knew lifted his spirits. much like he had often lifted theirs. All of the Nightwings knew the stakes. Yeah, he was like always a smiley, always, you know, trying to cheer people up and give hope to everyone. Just such a cool guy. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not all able to remain in contact with us, Hedman thought of each of them often, and so in turn did they often think of him. You know what? I would like to look at my adversaries first, in the order of not caring about them the most to caring about them the most. Bertrude? No, that's not Bertrude. I was like, wait, what are you doing on that side, Birdie? So she was liberated, he was liberated, and I think that was about it, right? I want to read you last, I want to read you first. No, actually, let's go with the ones that I care about the least. I care about you the least, honestly. I care about you the least. Barkish Aspas was never had much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling. So when the rites ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rites had given his life a certain sense of structure he had always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some of the rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the dissidents, proved more than happy to participate unless they ran against each other back in Jimor Valley. Gradually, their exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it all, or at all, started to take an interest. They ended up giving Barker Ashpaw some healthy competition. His old feud with Rookie Greentail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amid his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashpaws, who had led such a directionless existence to that point, found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less seriously than any other exile of his time or more was oft debated by those who watched him work. Goodbye. What about you?
Más spectacular.
When Manly Tenderstaff realized the rites had ended, and that he no longer could return to the Commonwealth through his ancient means, he was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be very unbecoming of one of his high status and bearing. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger him, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with superior propulsion. He tried an amp raft, a hot air balloon, even prayer. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tenderstaff bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. At last, such was his shame that he retreated to the teeming woods of Black Basin to Cinderu. There, he yet wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Bloop. You guys. After her liberation, Witch Udmild fled to her native home in the southern bogs, rejecting all festivities and honors she could have received. She was never seen again during the events that transpired in and around the Commonwealth. Some of those with knowledge of the rites and the legends of the downside suggest that she willingly cast herself back into exile to be closer to Yislash. Other rumors suggest that her obsession with pyromancy and the dark arts ultimately consumed her. If she lives, for her kind are able to live for many centuries, there is no telling where. Her repeated threats of the return of Yislak were thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. Goodbye. You. After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe that the rites had truly ended. He would sit through night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign ever came. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp. But Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted rather forcefully that any evening now, the stars would shine for him again, and marked the way toward his inevitable freedom. He was of course mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left with little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lendl the Liar was never seen again. However, there have since been sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's cruel countenance, suggesting he had lives with horns. Damn, that actually was that was sad. Yo! After his liberation, Alma Oldheart was separated from his father, Dalbert, who had cast his son into the Shimmer Pool in his own place. The elderly Dalbert Oldheart, having achieved his goal of earning back his son's freedom, retired from the rites. By the time the cycle of the rites had reached its end, Dalbert's time had come as well. Almer did not learn of this until much later. Surely Dalbert would have wanted it that way. With that, he could have seen his son during this vital time. On the night of the scribe's turn, Almer became inspired by what he saw happening all around him. It reminded him of his father's wars and beliefs. Soon, Almer joined the fight, protecting others bodily as the situation escalated. By dawn's first light, it was over. Almer was exhausted, but the cause had prevailed. From that point forward, he worked tirelessly to continue his father's work as a historian and curator of Kerr culture. He ended up providing invaluable perspective during the formation of the Tsarian Union as someone strongly connected both to Kerrs and to his own kind. He found that the Oldheart lineage carried a great deal of respect and was able to bridge many cultural issues between its people as they transitioned into modern times. Now the day went by that Almer Oldheart did not think about his father and give thanks to him and speak to him at morning and night. Would that the stars he had shown for surely Dalbert would be there among them, smiling down at his son and watching over him in his skin. Throughout her exile, Tamitha Tain was motivated by a single goal: to return to the Commonwealth and exact vengeance on her ancient enemies. When she realized that her rise had ended, and that she would never see her mountain home again, she nonetheless remained determined to aid her people however possible. She had gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings, who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after the liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth defenses and revealed to the Nightwing or Highwing remnants the opportunity for a risky but potentially impactful strike, which we saw in the ending. Though Tamitha could not participate in the assault, she nonetheless contributed to its success. She later learned her sister of the Highwing remnants called out her name as a battle cry as they swooped down upon their enemies. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamitha encountered her blood sister Pamitha, come to pay her a visit. Pamitha had hoped their people's victory on the other side would be cause for reconciliation. Tamitha was skeptical of her intentions, however, and lashed out at her. Pamitha made no attempt to elude the attack and was struck full on. This cost Pamitha the use of her right wing. Yet, after she recovered, she shrugged the incident aside and said maybe they would call it even now. From that point on, the Blood Sisters kept a formal distance but were cordial with each other. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamitha retreated to the crags of Black Basin and grew even more distant. Those closest to her surmised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this, though for her part, Tamitha never once admitted to any such weakness. It's really interesting that her story did depend on whether Pamitha had returned or not. Like, I wonder what would have changed about her if that had happened. Oh, Ignarius, after getting laid. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Templars to call it quits. But first, he and the Templars decided to celebrate. And that they did for many, many nights. The rivalry did eventually subside. The exiles parted amicably, and went their separate ways. I wonder if I had kept Jodariel down here, if they would have been like married and had like a family and kids and stuff. He roamed the downside and searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring his brute strength. He never remained alone for very long and took on many lovers in his time. Okay, never mind. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curlyhones. Okay, never mind. And what became of her. Though his glory days as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at the time. You. All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion. He had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth, and now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient tests were crestfallen, as their last chances to return to their homes vanished, along with the stars above. But Deluge did not mind, for this outcome meant that, at last, there was no burden of responsibility weighing down on him. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre heart yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses toward conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, one Lady Seagrass. She's a worm-eyed, duty-bound, serving Sir Deluge and the Pyre heart, who had taken a liking to him, for some reason. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of Wormgulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Ew! Yuck. Ugh. Blech. After the Shimmer Pool closed for what would be the last time, Oralek looked around him in the flickering light of the Nightwing's still burning pyre. He then turned to the Fall of Solium and looked up toward the black, starless sky. He cursed the scribes, then one after another. After that, he strode forward toward the waters, cursing from the side of Mount Aladiel, and without hesitation, he cast himself down. Orlik's body was never recovered. The drop from Mount Aladiel does not appear survivable, though Orlik did survive it once. That time, however, he was filled with fury. Such was the betrayal he had suffered when his fellow exile claimed his rightful freedom. This time, Orlik was filled with nothingness, and chose to leave the downside in the one way he still knew he could. The other Nightwings who were witness to this never forgot what they saw. Snap. So Wolford Sandalwood basically saw his best friend commit suicide twice. That's so messed up. Alright. Let's see here. Wait, I never knew you had green hair. Had I seen it before? Don't doubt it. Oh, Falcaron's here too. This is great. I don't know what to go with next. Let's go with you, Jay. Long after Rice had ended, Jay admitted that she knew well before the fact that she would not be going home again. Wait, what? Long after the rites had ended, Jay admitted that she knew well before the fact that she would not be going home again. At least, she had a very strong feeling. She ended up not minding very much because she had little to return to in the Commonwealth. Her sense of home had changed. She took to wandering from one celestial landmark to the next, ever paying homage to the 8 scribes, who she believed had influenced all that transpired. She was no stranger to traveling alone, but was always happy to have company. Through it all, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. While they were divided now by a great distance, he always remained in her heart. Though they could not see each other any longer, Jay often thought about Jodariel and spoke to her as though she were there. Jay tried never to make a decision without first consulting her idea of what Mr. Jodariel might say. Whenever she felt genuine doubt, which was not very often, she sought out the reader of the Nightwings. If there was anyone whom she trusted as much as the scribes, it was me! Jay always was devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Her gentle manner and unwavering conviction often helped them brave life in the downside, both with courage and with grace. Wilfred, shall I keep you as the last person reaching out? No. Let's see. Several exiles of Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live within a dismal region known as Flagging Hands. There, she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps, then even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sandalwood, someone whom she had admired now for decades. He had made clear that he could not requite her feelings for him, but what could have been a hurtful dismissal led only to a deeper understanding between them. She maintained an unlikely kinship with Harp, Pamitha Thane, whom she had known during their time together on the Nightwings. They each had different strategies for dealing with life's day-to-day annoyances, a subject that they both found vital, if not fascinating to no end. By and large, Bertrude kept focus on her work, whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans. Their work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden, but on the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries, which the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more the living legend. Rookie. After Rookie Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given in to his better judgment, as he did end up siding with Wilfred Sandalwood's revolutionary forces as he promised. On the night of Scribe's return, Greentail kept busy barking orders to Wilfred's agents as the situation grew tenser. He took rather well to leadership. When dawn finally came and it became clear that the Commonwealth that everybody knew would be no more, he realized many new opportunities awaited. He began quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demand. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good, and soon his family was well off, as he always said. He also kept in close touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They would train together often, taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all of his many friends, and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with the group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that put even Greentail at a loss for words sometimes. Pamitha? After the rites ended, yeah, I don't think we've seen Pamitha ever like this. She always had like a hood on. Pamitha Thane parted ways with the other Nightwings, stating that she needed time alone. She reappeared sometime after the fall of Commonwealth, although she expressed mild surprise at the news. She claimed to have no knowledge of what went on, including what role the High Wing remnants had in the events that reshaped the world on the other side. For her part, Pamitha feigned little interest, making the point that they were stuck, and what happened elsewhere had little to do with them now. Someone with whom she kept in contact was a bog dweller called Big Bertrude. They would discuss all sorts of matters long into the night, and sometimes hunt together too. One day, while traveling to Black Basin, Pamitha ran into her blood sister Tamitha for the first time since the conclusion of the rites, and she rammed her so hard her ring fell off. The reunion was not as amicable as Pamitha might have hoped, and Tamitha, still resentful of their history together, turned violent. Pamitha would later brush aside the incident, though always had an injury to show for it. Yet, from that point on, the Blood Sisters were back on speaking terms, at least for the most part, cordially. Having long since felt as though she had no home to call her own, Pamitha continued traveling about the downside. As a tempest swept across the land, changing its features, she found in it a sublime beauty. And, in the starless night, she still could see just fine. She said such travels tended to remind her of when she was younger and could fly, unfettered. Oh man. These are juicy characters. Wolfred. When the cycle of the right sees the turning, Wolfred Santa would turn toward the starless sky and close his eyes and prayed. It was all that he could do at that stage of his plan. He aspired to assemble with liberated right or exiles, representing each of the 8 largest ethnic groups composing the population of Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an older set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the rights ending sooner than expected, its ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit. Yet the plan did have contingencies. Word reached him that, on the night of Scribe's return, several of his fellow liberated Nightwings stood together, and their voices echoed through the streets. It was vital to Sandalwood that the stand against the Commonwealth would be peaceful in its nature, but this proved to be untenable, especially after the Highwing remnants appeared. There was speculation that their well-timed assault may not have happened by coincidence, though Sandalwood denied any involvement and regretted the bloodshed. Nevertheless, the main thrust of the plan had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that as much as possible, providing counsel from afar to those who would be at the forefront of the birth of the Saurian Union. One day, we all may stand, shoulder to shoulder, for the common cause, my boy. Of course, being stranded in the downside meant that there was only so much he could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of Downside and me. They might never return to that new nation, but at least they could experience his triumphs and his struggles in some vicarious way. So, he took to his old work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread again throughout the Saurian Union, so too did exiles of the Downside take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped teach as many as he could. But more than that, he provided material to read that semi-annual report about the latest events both in the Saurian Union and the Downside. This periodical gave many exiles something to look forward to. He welcomed the company of the reader of the Nightwings at every opportunity and counted him as a trusted friend and a keen editor. As Wolfred Sandalwood gained more fame throughout this land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about 2 things. The first was that that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that the people had achieved. It was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He would often praise the exile of the Nightwings who had stood with him, each in turn, by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, the people of the Saurian Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn of it until much later, it is said that he was moved to tears then by the gesture. It has since ensured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and our cause. That's why I let Tizo go, because, you know, I was like, I was a reader and I'm the controller, but these guys, they were the ones who made it happen. Okay, let's see. Celeste. Oh, they go together. After the cycle of the rite ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the Black Wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. The parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Aladiel with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tarigo nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Saurian Union, and merely were imbued with the weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims at having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folktale suggests these minstrels were heralds of the scribes, having fulfilled their obligations and departed the world, we know, and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome. That the two gave up their duties to the rites in favor of a life that they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered our times. Johnny! Fucking run! And it's that. With the rites drawn to a close, stock market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany. Yet, hold on, this is a good little bit to read again. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave it to one of his remaining trinkets, which could not be sold. Gave to it one of his remaining trinkets. The following week, the messenger imp returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth in newly minted coinage from the Saurian Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp then and there. Though his trade remained a gray area from a legal standpoint in the Saurian Union, the newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Birch Roots and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Retail, whose own business had expanded. Why don't you have your Falcon Ron music? Oh, music is coming. Especially in the Saurian Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects.
Quite nice.
Gilman. When the worm, Gilman, returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom, his honor. This night, Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve as captain on the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those such as he, the circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him to once again make use of his military training. He fought that night of the scribe's return. He fought with all his might. He faced other worm knights. He cared only for the cause. When the matter was at last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstance, again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not, and retired. He still trained regularly just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend, Rookie Greentail. He was always grateful for having studied under the leader of the Nightwings, without whom he would never have completed his penance. Because of this, and perhaps because they were on opposite sides of the world now, Gilman dedicated his life to him. Damn! By that point, he had long forgotten about his days on the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of his abusive leadership was his first step toward gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. It was just high up enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, an intense daily training regimen and the occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honor was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself, to be renewed each day. That is so true! After liberation, Jodariel soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Saurian Union. I think my brain is like starting to shut down from reading so much text. Oh my god, it's been like, how long? An hour and a half since we started this episode? What time is it? Oh Jesus. Oh, by the way, after Saturday, I have plans with my sister in like half an hour, so just good luck me. Her military prowess and experience led to key victories and clashes against Commonwealth loyalists. I mean, I'm enjoying this, don't get me wrong, I'm loving this, but I wish I had more time. Each time, she was able to subdue the opposition, avoiding lethal force. In the uncertain times that followed, Jodariel's seasoned expertise often came into play both in matters of security and of state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close to Hedwyn all through this experience, and they supported each other through their struggles many times. She often had to stop herself from fearing for Jay, whom she had tried to look after as much as possible on the downside. Soon she would reassure herself that Jay was very capable of surviving on her own, and in fact, she was not mistaken. She never settled down with anyone, although from time to time, she thought about Ignarius, despite herself. She continued training on her own, a regimen that grew stricter each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and she sometimes obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings, and with fondness, for the most part. Sandra's the loneliest number. Look at her, she's alone. Again. But with me. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggest that exiles of the Nightwings who remained at the downside continued to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the wagon's contents, such as a Book of the Rites, or the Beyonder crystals, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that when the lone minstrel took his leave, he took the Beyonder crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remain skeptical that the Beyonder crystal ever existed, or rather, that the visions that it granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or a fever dream. The bog dwellers of the southern bogs offer still another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Arch had been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant that they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyonder crystal remain unknown. We had those exiles of the Nightwing who claimed to have seen this apparition, all spoke of her with a degree of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. She's in my back pocket, yo. Man, that's right, Sandra, what the heck? Yo? These fools. Can you believe this, reader? Honestly. Sandra has appeared before you. As well you can see. They are so far from the mark with all this nonsense. I am wont to laugh. In fact, here goes. She laughs. She's referring to the account of her. You sense she does not care for it. Well, let them gossip all they'd like. I merely wish that they would mention you at least in passing when next they are added. Though, she'll never know even the half of it, shall they? Sandra seems irritated by the incomplete account of what happened to her. The account was relatively flattering despite a lack of detail. It could have been worse. Perhaps making some light of the situation will make Sandra feel better. Sometimes Sandra just needs a little time to vent. She values that you listen. You let Sandra have her moment. Soon the flash of anger passes and she's back to her usual self. It is no matter, I suppose. Though they ought to have mentioned you at least, and there is nothing you can say that shall convince me otherwise. Anyway, let's keep going, lovely reader. We know the truth of it. That is what that matters. She fades into the bionic crystal for now, and you tuck it away safely. That's right. My wife! There is one more account which warrants mention. The Nightwings conducted rites under the guidance of a reader. Little is known of him. However, some accounts of him begin to paint a picture. We know he was of common birth, just stout enough to make a simple farmer. The journey to the downside left him close to death. It was then that the Nightwings found him. They brought him from the brink. He showed them the path. He pressed onward with the others. He had made a vow to help his friends be free. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. In the end, however, he remained an exile. From that point on, accounts of him diverge. It is said the voice which troubled him, he never heard again. Some say he helped improve the lives of other downside exiles, though whether that is true, only he knows. Someday, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory until such time. And ever after, all of us give thanks. Good evening.
The journey began on a barren waste where the reader arrived, afraid and alone. When he arrived, the book of rites awakened the Nightwings and ignited the flame. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in our brain till the end. We sing of the last of the Nightwings who, having broken the cycle, shall live on in song. Headwind prevailed and strode the path that his heart laid before him. He has found his way home. Captain Joe Dariel, mother to many a foundling, she has found her way home. Rookie Greentail has proved his worth and returned to his family by the grace of the scribe.
untouched girl feels the scribes in the heart of the downside.
Look at Tiza.
She remained to the end.
Tizo prevailed, first of his lowly kind, to ascend from the downside. He has found a new home. Sir Gilman the Bold, ever in his quest, finding honor and glory, he has found his way home. Amith Thane, born on guilty wings, ever seeking forgiveness, she remained till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Bound together, spirits tether, strands unbroken, scribes awoken. The great mastermind, Wolfred Sandalwood, saw his plans turn to action. He remained till the end. The bog dweller Bertrude kept their foes at bay with her finest enchantments. She remained till the end. The reader at last made the night wings whole, having bound them together. He remained till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. They follow the stars, bound together, strands in a braid till the end. Now at the end, as we bid farewell and return to the stars, we shall find our way home. We shall find our way home. We shall find our way home.
Wow. What a complete and satisfying ending. Wait for it. Is that Brighton's place? Oh, this is the new place and a library. People can read. Wait, are you telling me that I can interact with this? Nice. We get to see the vision of the future instead of just remaining blind. The downside. Wonderful. Awesome. I guess that's it. Well, this was lovely. Wow, this episode was extremely long, but I had to conclude it in one sitting, basically. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching the series and supporting it and following me throughout. It meant a lot. It didn't get a lot of views, but I know for a fact that every single one of the people who watched the series watched it with, you know, sense of a good feeling, and they were following it. You know, kind of like there was strong loyalty to the series from the few viewers that I had for it, and I'm glad that I got a little bit of feedback here and there from you guys, and you're like, you know, I'm enjoying this. I'm watching it with my wife, or I'm watching it every day. It's in my routine, and hope you guys enjoyed the stupid voice acting on the level that I did anyway. But anyway, thank you very much as always for your time and attention. We may come back to this game once again. That is yet to be decided, but I would give this game a solid 10 out of 10. Like, there was nothing missing from it. Art was beautiful, the characters were alive and extraordinarily deep, the interactions were real, the feelings were pretty strong, and the gameplay itself with the rights, pretty exciting, in-depth sort of system with the talisman and the operating system and the whole Falcon Ron thing and the vocation stuff and choosing different places you could go for different sort of favors and stuff like that, as well as how everything was basically like a butterfly effect of how liberating someone or giving somebody else liberty led to differences in like the story arc and all that stuff, and especially the ending and the music, and oh my god, I would go on and on. Definitely 10 out of 10, and I hope that everyone who has a patience for this game gets to experience it, because it was awesome. And yeah, if you liked it, for one last time, please leave a thumbs up on it. I would like that. I would greatly appreciate that. And as always, thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll see you guys somewhere else, maybe among the stars. Goodbye.